Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are taking a deep dive into the career, the persona, and the, well, truly unprecedented success of Billie Eilish pirate Baird O'Connell.
That name is a whole story in itself.
It really is, and somehow that full, long name became globally synonymous with pop culture with this sort of generational angst before she even hit her 24th birthday. It's incredible.
It is. And our mission today is, I think, pretty crucial. We need to move beyond just, reciting her list of hits. We've got this substantial stack of sources in front of us, articles, interviews, critical analyses, and our goal is to really extract the strategic, the technical, and the cultural insights from them.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how she achieved what seems impossible, how she became this generational phenomenon molded so perfectly by the rapid, fragmented, instantaneous world of the modern streaming era.
And when you talk about the scale of that success, the numbers are genuinely hard to grasp. We're talking about an artist who, in less than a decade, has racked up 9 Grammy Awards, secured 2 Academy Awards for Best Original Song, and holds over 20 Guinness World Records.
I mean, that level of institutional success, achieved while you're still navigating your early 20s, it demands a deep analysis of how she managed not just to survive that kind of fame, but to completely dominate.
Exactly. We are here to figure out the blueprint.
It's a remarkable narrative, isn't it? It's all about this controlled chaos, this artistic intimacy meeting massive corporate scale. Let's start right at the very beginning, because her unconventional upbringing is just essential to understanding the unique character she developed in the public eye.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the foundational facts. Billie Eilish pirate Baird O'Connell, born in Los Angeles, December 18, 2001. And the origins of her name give us this early glimpse into her family's creative and, I'd say, slightly unusual background.
Those middle names really are a story, aren't they? We learned that Eilish was actually considered for her first name.
Right.
And that was inspired by Irish conjoined twins, Katie and Eilish Holton, that her parents saw in a documentary. Her parents, both being in the entertainment industry, were just drawn to these interesting stories.
And the name Billie, the one that stuck.
That was chosen to honor her deceased grandfather, William Baird. So right from the name, you have this blend of the artistic, the unconventional, and deep family ties.
And that family unit is the crucial context here. Her mother, Maggie Baird, and her father, Patrick O'Connell, they were musicians, actors, teachers. So the environment Billie and her older brother Phineas grew up in was less like a traditional home and more like a creative laboratory.
And the centerpiece of that whole environment was the decision to homeschool them.
A huge decision.
It wasn't about being dissatisfied with the school system. It was a very deliberate choice. They wanted to spend more time with their kids and, crucially, allow them absolute freedom to pursue creative interests. Art, dance, acting, music, without the rigidity of a standard school schedule.
And you can see how that's a vital piece of the puzzle. It creates the space for this organic, artistic partnership to form, totally shielded from external pressures or, peer judgment.
Exactly. The fundamentals of songwriting were literally taught at the kitchen table. Maggie Baird personally taught both siblings the basics of composition and musical structure. Billie started on the ukulele at age 6.
8 years old.
And by age 8, she joined the Los Angeles Children's Chorus, which is where you can imagine she started honing those ethereal vocal qualities we all know today.
I love the anecdote about her first real attempt at songwriting. I think it perfectly illustrates that blend of youthful creativity and, well, dark subject matter that would define her sound later.
It's perfect. At age 11, for her mother's songwriting class, she writes her first real song. And the theme.
The zombie apocalypse.
The zombie apocalypse, drawing inspiration directly from dialogue and plot lines of The Walking Dead. It's kind of funny, but it tells you so much. From the start, she was interested in narrative and the macabre, not, bubblegum pop.
That narrative focus was always there. And while she was developing musically, she was also deeply, deeply committed to dance. She was actively pursuing a dance career until 2016.
And that path just ended so abruptly.
It did, a growth plate injury. And while that must have been just devastating at the time, that physical setback ultimately forced her to focus entirely and maybe exclusively on recording music with Phineas. It was a closing of one creative door that just slammed the other one wide open.
So that brings us to 2015. She's 13, and the collaboration with Phineas, who was already writing and producing, it starts to get serious.
Right. But their initial tracks, things like She's Broken and Fingers Crossed, they were just casual releases on SoundCloud. The sources say just for fun. They weren't seeking fame. They were just testing the waters of what they could create together.
And then came what you call the accidental nuclear launch.
Yes. Ocean Eyes, November 2015. This is such a critical story because it perfectly captures the capriciousness of the modern music industry.
Oh, so?
Well, Phineas had originally written and produced the track for his own band, the Slightlies. But he realized pretty quickly that the gentle, haunting quality of the song was just a better fit for Billie's developing signature ethereal vocals.
And the actual reason for its release is what makes this a blueprint moment for the streaming age. They didn't upload it as a commercial single. They simply put it on SoundCloud, so her dance teacher.
Diaz, yes.
So Fred Diaz could easily access the track to choreograph a routine to it. That's it.
And that casual, completely non-commercial upload generated immediate, stunning momentum. Our sources show the song got several 100,000 listens in 2 weeks. That instantaneous engagement signaled a seismic shift.
Yeah.
This rapid, organic growth almost instantly attracted professional management, most notably Danny Rukasin, who recognized the immense potential of the siblings working together as a kind of packaged unit.
This successful but totally unintentional launch sequence became the definitive blueprint for her entire career. She signed a deal in January 2016 with Platoon.
And Platoon specialized in exactly this kind of artist packaging emerging talent for major labels, focusing on digital distribution and brand building.
Right. And by August 2016, she was officially signed to Darkroom and Interscope Records by the executive Justin Lubliner.
And this is where the strategy becomes truly fascinating. Lubliner didn't pursue a traditional pop radio strategy at all. He consciously developed her rollout by drawing inspiration from the modern hip-hop model.
It's like Travis Scott, Chance the Rapper.
Exactly. The focus wasn't on engineering one massive, polished pop single for radio rotation. It was about establishing a consistent, unique, and slightly intimidating persona and distinct aesthetic that fans could fully immerse themselves in. It was world-building from day one.
Which is a genius move for the streaming age, right? If you
Of
focus on
course.
a complete aesthetic, her dark whispered vocals, the oversized clothes, the horror imagery, you create a fan base that follows the artist and the brand, not just one song.
Absolutely. And the sources highlight exactly why this works so well. The critical role of the digital platforms themselves. Eilish got crucial promotion from Spotify, landing a coveted spot on the Today's Top Hits playlist almost immediately.
Which just dramatically expanded her visibility beyond traditional radio listeners.
It's a huge boost, and Apple Music picked up on this momentum too, naming her their Up Next artist in September 2017, which came with a short documentary and a live session EP. These platforms weren't just distribution channels, they were promotional kingmakers.
This perfect alignment of her sound with the platform led critics to analyze the technical viability of her style. I'm thinking of The Baffler, which famously termed her music stream bait pop.
That term, while maybe a little clinical, is really insightful. It characterizes her music as generally mid-tempo melancholy pop, which is perfectly suited for repeat, passive listening in playlists. That's how Spotify generates most of its revenue.
Right, it's often intimate and sonically low-key, which is less jarring for constant playlist shuffling.
They also noted the heavy influence of Lana Del Rey in terms of the singing style, bleakness, and hip-hop influenced production. It showed that even at the start, her music was recognized as being perfectly tailored for algorithmic consumption, not necessarily for, live stadium performance or AM radio.
And all that initial strategic groundwork culminated in the debut EP, Don't Smile at Me, released in August 2017.
Which was a true sleeper hit. It took time, but that slow burn eventually drove it all the way to number 14 on the U.S. Billboard 200.
And we can't forget the key tracks from that period. Bellyache, which really established her dark narrative style, I Don't Want to Bay You Anymore, and Bored, which got huge visibility from being on the soundtrack for the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why.
Establishing collaborations early was also key to signaling her intent to span genres. She released a remix of Watch, titled And Burn, featuring the American rapper Vince Staples in December 2017.
Right. Working with a respected hip-hop artist that early on just reinforced the whole aesthetic and genre-blending strategy her label had adopted from the start.
And that initial foundational work led us directly into the period of, explosion. The next 2 years saw Billie Eilish move from a successful, critically interesting artist to a bona fide global icon, setting chart records that truly redefine what success looks like for an artist so young.
The transition was seamless. It was relentless. In April 2018, she collaborated again, this time with Khalid on the single Lovely.
And just like Bored, that track was strategically placed on the 13 Reasons Why Season 2 soundtrack, which just cemented the connection between her music and high-profile teen media. This continuous exposure built enormous anticipation for a full-length debut.
And that debut arrived on March 29, 2019. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Even the title felt cinematic and, I don't know, slightly unsettling.
The impact was instantaneous and historic. It reflected years of careful brand building. The album debuted right at the top of both the Billboard 200 in the US and the UK albums chart. The sources detail just a remarkable succession of broken records right out of the gate.
Let's just focus on the significance of those records for a second. First, she became the very first artist born in the 2000s to have a #1 album in the US.
That demographic milestone is huge.
It's massive. It shows a complete shift in power from millennial pop acts to the new Gen Z standard bearers.
And in the UK, she simultaneously became the youngest female ever to achieve a #1 album. But the domination wasn't just on the album chart. Her performance on the Hot 100 singles chart was even more impressive.
That's where you really see the streaming strategy pay off globally. When the album debuted, she broke the record for the most simultaneously charting Hot 100 songs by a female artist. She landed 14 tracks on the chart.
14. Meaning every single song from the album charted, excluding only the spoken word track, Goodbye.
That is a true indicator of listener engagement with the entire body of work, not just one hit single.
Which brings us, of course, to the Bad Guy phenomenon.
Yes.
Released at the same time as the album, this single topped the U.S. Billboard Hot 100. And this milestone was crucial because it made her the first artist born in the 21st century to achieve a #1 hit.
And the true cultural significance of that moment wasn't just hitting #1. It was who she displaced. Bad Guy was powerful enough to finally end Lil Nas X's then record-breaking 19-week run with Old Town Road.
What a moment.
That moment signaled a shift in the entire pop landscape. It was like the passing of the torch between two digitally native, unconventional stars. It was the sound of the new decade fully arriving.
And the song didn't just fade away. It became a permanent fixture, eventually earning the highly prestigious Diamond certification from the RIA.
And it's also worth noting the continuous commercial strategy. Even after the initial success, they released a remix featuring Justin Bieber in July 2019.
Leveraging one of her childhood idols to reignite visibility and secure even more rotation, the machine was well-oiled and operating at maximum efficiency.
So if the chart success proved her commercial might, the 2020 Grammy Awards solidified her as an institutional powerhouse.
Absolutely. Billie Eilish was nominated for 6 awards at the 60-second ceremony, and her performance that night was, well, it was truly historic.
And we really need to amplify the significance of the general field categories. These 4 awards, Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best New Artist, are the absolute pinnacle of industry validation.
They are notoriously difficult to sweep. They often pit different genres and levels of establishment against one another. It's almost impossible.
And she didn't just win, she made history. She won all 4. Record of the Year and Song of the Year for Bad Guy, Album of the Year for When We All Fall Asleep, and Best New Artist. A clean sweep.
The historical context is just staggering. She became only the second artist ever after Christopher Cross, way back in 1981, and the only female artist in Grammy history to win all 4 major categories in a singular ceremony.
And the age record.
The age record is profound. She became the youngest ever winner of both Album of the Year and Record of the Year, achieving this at just 18 years old. That is a level of dominance that usually takes decades of work to accumulate.
To put that in perspective, the industry didn't just recognize her success, it fundamentally crowned her the new ruler of the landscape almost overnight. And then right after that came the ultimate validation for any established music legend.
The James Bond theme song.
The Bond theme. In 2020, she and Phineas performed the theme song No Time to Die for the 25th film in the franchise.
And with this, she broke yet another age record. Youngest artist ever to write and perform a James Bond theme song. It speaks volumes that the producers felt she had the gravitas and the distinct sonic profile to carry that heavy cultural weight.
And unlike some Bond themes that are more of an honor than a commercial hit, No Time to Die was a major success. It topped a UK singles chart, which was her first UK #1 single.
And it became only the second Bond theme song ever to top the British official charts. It was a clear confirmation that she could cross cultural boundaries and dominate legacy media just as effectively as she dominated the digital world.
But then, just as she was launching the massive Where Do We Go world tour in March 2020, the entire world shut down.
The COVID-19 pandemic. It prematurely ended the tour after only 3 shows.
This forced an immediate pivot, and what's fascinating is how quickly she embraced the virtual performance space. She performed for virtual concerts like iHeartMedia's Living Room Concert for America and Global Citizens Together at Home series.
And later that year, she leveraged her own infrastructure to put on a ticketed global live stream concert, Where Do We Go? The live stream.
And she made sure that the proceeds from the merchandise went directly to support event crew members who had been put out of work by the pandemic. This immediate conscious application of her fame for social good became a defining characteristic of her brand moving forward.
So by 2021, Eilish was fully navigating this dichotomy of ultra fame. Incredible professional success mixed with relentless personal scrutiny. And this era really began with the release of the documentary Billie Eilish. The World's a Little Blurry in February 2021.
That film was such a key strategic move. It provided this curated, in-depth look at her life, her relationship with Phineas, her family, the overwhelming nature of her ascent, which critics and fans praised for its vulnerability. It allowed the audience to feel intimately connected to her growth, which maybe mitigated some of the pressure that comes with being a global figure.
And even after that massive sweep in 2020, her institutional dominance continued. At the 63rd Grammys, she won Best Song Written for Visual Media for the Bond theme, and then, in a pretty shocking moment, she won Record of the Year again for Everything I Wanted.
That win was highly controversial, wasn't it? I mean, the overwhelming public and critical consensus favored Megan Thee Stallion's Savage remix.
It did, and Billie Eilish herself acknowledged that tension. She used her acceptance speech to publicly and humbly state that she felt Megan Thee Stallion deserved to win. That moment of self-awareness and deflection was, I think, a masterclass in navigating industry expectations while maintaining a sense of genuine humility.
Her second studio album, Happier Than Ever, followed on July 30th, 2021, and again, it topped charts worldwide. The singles leading up to it, My Future, Therefore I Am, Your Power, Lost Cause, and NDA, all peaked within the top 10 in both the US and UK.
And the album's rollout was a perfect reflection of her brand and her demographic. It was promoted with the Disney Plus concert film, Happier Than Ever, a love letter to Los Angeles.
Right, cementing her crossover appeal into high-budget visual media. But strategically, she also continued her commitment to environmental causes.
Yes, the eco-consciousness was a huge part of the marketing. The album was promoted with an eco-friendly vinyl edition made entirely from recycled scraps,
Which was even available at select high-end Gucci stores. This fusion of high fashion, global music, and uncompromising environmental ethics speaks directly to the values of her core Gen Z audience.
However, this heightened visibility inevitably led to intense public scrutiny and the resurrection of past missteps. The sources detail several key controversies she had to navigate in June 2021, which really speaks to the impossible standards placed on young celebrities online.
That's right. She faced significant online criticism when old videos resurfaced on social media. The first video showed her mouthing an anti-Asian slur, chink, while lip-syncing to a Tyler, the Creator song.
She addressed it immediately. She released an apology via Instagram stories, which is sort of the preferred PR channel for young stars navigating immediate outrage. She stated she was appalled and embarrassed, but maintained she was just 13 or 14 at the time and claimed she did not know the slur was a derogatory term.
The apology strategy focused on age and ignorance, which is often the only defense available when material from a celebrity's childhood is preserved forever online.
And she also had to address a separate video where she appeared to be mocking an Asian accent, claiming she was actually speaking in a silly, gibberish made-up voice that she used throughout her childhood. The entire episode just highlights the constant pressure of a digital footprint that never disappears.
At the same time, she was also accused of queerbaiting, which is the use of non-committal LGBTQ+ imagery or language to get a queer audience without providing actual representation.
And that happened after she used the caption, "I love girls," to promote the music video for her single Lost Cause.
The complexity of her response to all of this speaks volumes. In interviews around that time, she reflected on the immense pressure of growing up in the spotlight, saying that as a teenager, you don't really know yourself, and that she just came up with this facade that I stuck to.
She articulated the difficulty when nothing on the internet ever goes away, and that feeling of a permanent record is a unique anxiety for this generation of stars.
Despite all those social pressures, Her professional trajectory just continued its historic pace. In 2022, the accolades for her Bond theme culminated when she won the Academy Award for Best Original Song for No Time to Die.
This was yet another profound generational marker. In winning that Oscar, she became the first person born in the 21st century to win an Academy Award in any category. She'd fundamentally crossed over from pop music into the highest echelons of global cinema and cultural art.
And the festival circuit further solidified her status as an undeniable cultural force. In 2022, she achieved the remarkable feat of becoming the youngest ever headliner for two of the world's biggest music festivals, Glastonbury in the UK,
And Coachella in the U.S.
which confirmed her transition from a streaming star to an artist capable of commanding massive, cross-generational live audiences.
Now let's talk about a fascinating moment of artistic defiance that I think foreshadowed her future weariness with the industry machine. In July 2022, she surprise-released the two-track EP, Guitar Songs, which included TV and The 30th.
This wasn't just a casual drop, it was a real statement. Her motivation here was highly specific and deeply insightful into the pressures of modern stardom.
It was. She explained she was tired of the heavy, traditional, years-long promotional build-up process for music. She felt the songs were really current, and she wanted to share their messages immediately with her fans without the industry infrastructure getting in the way.
That immediacy was critical, especially with the track TV, which demonstrated her evolving political engagement. The song directly references the overturning of Roe v. Wade, a major constitutional ruling in the U.S.
And Eilish revealed she partly wrote the song after a draft of the court decision was leaked in May 2022. It shows her ability to respond to global events in real time through her art, which is something a heavily scheduled promotional cycle would make impossible.
She even found time to branch out artistically beyond music, making her acting debut in 2023 in the satirical thriller series Swarm, where she played Eva, a cult leader.
And her performance received highly positive reviews, which proved her versatility and capacity to create compelling characters outside of her musical persona.
Finally, we get to what we could call the crowning achievement of this era. Her profound collaboration on the 2023 film Barbie.
What Was I Made For? She co-wrote and performed that achingly personal and reflective song for the soundtrack.
That song was inescapable and critically flawless. It led directly to her winning the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 2024, securing her second total Oscar.
With that second win, Eilish established yet another unbelievable, almost mythological record. She became the youngest person ever to win 2 Academy Awards in any category.
And on top of that, What Was I Made For? Entered this incredibly exclusive club, becoming only the 10th song ever in history to win both an Oscar for Best Original Song and a Grammy for Song of the Year.
It's an extraordinary level of recognition for a song created and produced primarily by 2 siblings in a home studio setting. Just incredible.
This relentless pace of achievement and continuous artistic evolution brought us to 2024 and the next chapter, which is characterized by continued artistic exploration paired with undeniable social and commercial dominance. It really seems like she's only accelerating.
Her 3rd studio album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, released on May 17, 2024, was met with significant critical acclaim for its maturity and emotional depth. Commercially, it's generated huge chart success, spawning 2 U.S. top 5 singles. Lunch,
which became an instant TikTok favorite.
Of course, and Birds of a Feather.
And Birds of a Feather achieved its own unique milestone, becoming her first #1 hit on the Billboard Global 200 chart. This just reinforces the idea that her fan base is truly borderless. Her success isn't just focused on U.S. domestic sales or radio play.
The machinery supporting this release is immense. The supporting Hit Me Hard and Soft. The tour was immediately announced to span North America, Oceania, and Europe from September 2024 all the way to July 2025.
But what I find most fascinating about this era is her choice of unconventional media appearances, which shows a deliberate attempt to touch every single demographic segment.
You see that range everywhere.
Yeah.
On one hand, she appeared on the children's channel CBeebies to read a bedtime story, demonstrating her appeal to the youngest children and their parents. It gives her a wholesome, universal quality.
And on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, she also featured in the popular, slightly awkward, and highly viral web series Chicken Shop Date with Amelia de Moldenberg.
In what was immediately dubbed the flirtiest episode yet, she can seamlessly transition from children's media to highly engaged, slightly risque internet content, proving her incredible versatility and understanding of different platforms.
Beyond traditional and viral media, she is deeply integrated into the digital entertainment ecosystem. She was announced as the next featured artist inside the Fortnite Festival spin-off game.
Which reflects how essential gaming collaborations are to securing and maintaining a Gen Z audience. This is where her fan base lives and consumes culture.
And her commitment to charity continues to be wrapped into her artistic output. She featured on a remix of Charlie XCX's Guess, produced by Phineas, with the specific intent that the video supported the charity I Support the Girls, which provides feminine hygiene products and underwear to those in need.
And she was given one of the most visible, symbolic platforms in the world to close out the summer of 2024. She performed Birds of a Feather at the 2024 Summer Olympics closing ceremony in Long Beach as part of the official handover to Los Angeles for the 2028 Games.
That position is reserved for artists who are not just successful, but who globally represent the city, the culture, and the future of the art form.
Now let's get into the absolute numbers, because this is where the scale of her digital dominance becomes truly evident. We have to look at her staggering records on streaming services and social media in 2024 and 2025. Her performance on Spotify alone is just monumental.
I mean, let's just say the number. 100 million monthly listeners. In June 2024, she became only the third artist ever following The Weeknd and Taylor Swift, and the youngest ever person to surpass that 100 million threshold on Spotify.
And what does that number really mean? It means that in any given month, roughly 1 in 80 people on the planet who use Spotify are listening to her music. It's an unprecedented level of penetration.
And 2 months later, in August 2024, she briefly became the most streamed artist worldwide in terms of monthly listeners, eclipsing even her massive contemporaries.
She maintains that tier position globally. Currently, she's the 4th most followed artist on Spotify overall, and the 2nd most followed female artist, right behind Taylor Swift. The consistency is as impressive as the initial burst of fame.
And when you delve into the individual tracks, her longevity is clear. She is the female artist with the most songs above 2 billion streams. She has 6 tracks over that mark.
And even more rare, she has 2 songs that have surpassed 3 billion streams. That kind of repeated listener engagement is the lifeblood of the modern music economy.
We also have to highlight Lovely, her 2018 collaboration with Khalid, which is specifically cited as the most streamed song by a female artist as a lead artist on Spotify. This isn't just about her recent work. Her back catalog is still generating massive daily streams.
Apple Music tells an identical story of digital domination. Her 2019 smash, Bad Guy, is the most streamed song by a female artist on that platform. And in a demonstration of its cultural staying power, it is the only track by a female artist found within Apple Music's top 10 most streamed songs of all time.
And then moving to social media, her engagement is just peerless. In early February 2022, she reached 100 million followers on Instagram, becoming the youngest person at just 20 years old to do so. This is a crucial tool for an artist who relies on aesthetic and persona.
She's also a master of rapid, immediate engagement, often breaking her own platform records. She broke the record for the fastest Instagram post to reach 1 million likes twice. Once with her blonde hair debut in March 2021, and then again a few months later with her British Vogue cover.
And in April 2024, she gained over 8 million followers in a 24-hour period, breaking the record for the most followers gained by a woman in that short time frame. These metrics show not just followers, but a uniquely hyper-engaged global audience ready to react instantly to her every move.
So let's shift our focus from the commercial machine to the artistry itself, because ultimately her success is built on a truly distinctive sound and a powerful artistic image.
The Eilish sound is unique. She has a soprano vocal range, but her signature delivery is highly unconventional for a pop star. It's frequently described using these intimate terms like ethereal, whispery, and having a husky, slurring voice.
A music critic, Robert Christgau, made a really astute point that while she is commercially pop, her brand reminds us how amorphous the genre has become. He noted that her soprano is too diminutive for vocal calisthenics, yet her playful version of teen goth angst is entirely captivating.
She succeeded by rejecting the vocal acrobatics that were expected of past pop divas.
And the technical reason for this unique sound lies in the production, which is all thanks to Phineas. They use extreme close mic techniques. The vocals are often recorded almost as a breathy whisper, which, when amplified and processed, creates this sort of ASMR-like intimacy.
A technique that is perfectly suited for headphone listening and streaming. It pulls you, the listener, into her personal headspace rather than projecting out to a stadium.
Exactly. Her music is primarily categorized as pop, But the blend is truly eclectic. Experts list an entire array of styles she touches on: alternative pop, dark pop, electropop, emo pop, experimental pop, goth pop, indie pop, pop rock, to teen pop. The list goes on.
That genre fluidity is a symptom of the post-genre streaming world where she thrives.
And we have to emphasize that this sound is often rooted in deeply personal, often heavy themes. Musicologist Jessica Holmes specifically argued that much of Eilish's music explicitly concerns her personal struggles with depression, which adds a layer of authenticity and vulnerability that resonates profoundly with her audience.
The enduring force behind her sound remains that intense collaboration with her brother, Phineas. He not only produces everything, but also co-writes for her albums and performs live right alongside her. Their creative synergy is the engine of the entire phenomenon.
And their shared writing philosophy is fascinating because it explains how they manage to achieve this emotional depth without feeling, overly earnest. They frequently write fictional songs where they deliberately become characters.
But they always ground these narratives by drawing from their own real-life experiences as well.
Exactly. So it's fictionalized reality. And their goal isn't just maximizing vulnerability. It's about making the language accessible. They aim for lyrics that are really interesting and conversational, trying to say things that don't seem overly deep at first, but reveal a greater, more sophisticated meaning when you listen closer.
Phineas has articulated his process beautifully. He says his method is to write songs he thinks Billie will relate to and enjoy singing and empathize with the lyrics and make her own, ensuring that the storytelling language perfectly fits her unique voice and perspective. It guarantees authenticity.
In terms of influences, she has a broad musical palette. She grew up listening to everything from the Beatles and Green Day to Justin Bieber and Linkin Park. Interestingly, she consistently cites hip-hop as her favorite genre and biggest inspiration overall.
Which explains so much about the rhythmic complexity and the production quality of her work.
She has credited two particular artists as being pivotal. She cited Matty Healy of the 1975, stating that his show was only the second concert she ever attended, and that he changed so much about who I am, how I write music.
And the other.
She mentioned stumbling upon Aurora's song Runaway on YouTube as a pivotal moment that inspired her to pursue her music career seriously.
Now, due to her aesthetic and her mood, she has often been compared in the media to artists like Avril Lavigne, Lorde, and particularly Lana Del Rey, who really pioneered that dark, melancholy pop sound.
And that last comparison sparked a strong reaction. She has publicly and emphatically expressed that she does not want comparisons to Lana Del Rey, stating that Del Rey made her brand so perfect for her whole career and she shouldn't have to hear that.
Which speaks to her desire to be recognized as an innovator in her own right, not just a successor to a previous icon.
Absolutely. Now let's discuss her visual identity, which was particularly early on defined by her distinct fashion statement. Baggy, oversized clothing.
Yeah.
She was completely rejecting the form-fitting, hypersexualized image that defined so much of 2010's pop.
Initially, in 2017, she explained the choice as purely strategic. She said she dressed outside of her comfort zone to deliberately grab attention and look memorable, striving to be really different from a lot of people.
She even explicitly stated she wanted to be intimidating so people will listen up. It was a shield of armor.
But that strategy quickly evolved into something much more personal and vulnerable. In a 2019 Calvin Klein ad, she revealed the deeper emotional reason for this style choice. She wore baggy clothes as a defense mechanism to prevent people from judging her body.
She was deliberately neutralizing the male gaze.
This issue led her to directly confront body shaming in a much more artistic way. In a live show in March 2020, she premiered the short film, Not My Responsibility, which was later uploaded in full to YouTube.
And this film was a powerful, direct statement addressing her experiences with body shaming and the double standards placed upon women's appearances. It was a strategic, artistic challenge to the scrutiny she faced.
She continued to challenge these gender norms in 2021 when she dramatically shifted her image and appeared on the cover of British Vogue dressed in lingerie. It was an explicit commentary on the hypocrisy faced by women who are judged for wearing baggy clothes and then judged equally harshly when they choose to show their skin.
Interestingly, in 2023, she stirred up a minor controversy in this space when, despite generally advocating for body positivity, she denied that men suffer from body shaming in the same way, stating that girls are nice and see people for who they are, whereas women often face constant structural scrutiny. It was a viewpoint that sparked a lot of debate about the universality of body image issues.
What really elevates Eilish beyond just a pop star and positions her as a true generational leader is her deeply engaged and often blunt political activism. She does not shy away from using her immense platform for social good.
Her most consistent focus has been environmentalism and climate change awareness. Her actions here are often structural. She signed open letters urging major governments to take action against climate-induced poverty. She hosted a 6-day climate seminar in London titled Overheated,
Which covered topics like sustainable fashion and youth activism. And linking back to her origins, she permitted the nonprofit Coral Watch to use her breakout hit Ocean Eyes for an online awareness campaign about the Great Barrier Reef.
She even integrates her beliefs into her daily life. She is vegan. She criticizes industries like dairy, mink fur, and wool. And in 2023, she publicly stated she refuses to travel by private jet, aligning her personal choices with her public advocacy.
Regarding women's rights, she has been a strong voice for body positivity and criticizing exploitation. Her 2021 single, Your Power, is a direct critique of the sexual exploitation of young women by powerful men, a theme that resonated deeply during the #MeToo era.
And furthermore, she became deeply involved in the U.S. abortion rights movement, condemning the overturning of Roe v. Wade, referencing her frustration directly in her song KV. She called the decision a really, really dark day for women in the U.S.
Her activism reached an entirely new level, however, in 2025 when she turned her attention to wealth distribution. While accepting the Music Innovator Award, it was revealed that she had personally donated $11.5 million from her Hit Me Hard and Soft, the tour to organizations supporting food equity, climate justice, and climate crisis efforts.
That generosity provided the context for her acceptance speech, which sparked major controversy. She used the platform to urge wealthy people to give away their money, saying, "If you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties."
This statement, delivered on a major industry stage, positioned her directly within the global debate surrounding extreme wealth inequality.
Yeah.
And that positioning led to a bizarre, highly publicized confrontation with one of the most visible billionaires in the world, Elon Musk.
Yes. In November 2025, Eilish lashed out at him on Instagram after learning he was projected to become the world's first trillionaire.
Yeah.
She didn't just criticize him, she made it political by reposting infographics detailing ways Musk could hypothetically redistribute his wealth to solve major global issues.
Like ending world hunger and providing universal clean water.
Right. And she concluded the post by dramatically calling him a pathetic pussy bitch coward for hoarding wealth during a global crisis.
Musk's response was characteristically brief and dismissive, stating on X that she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. The incident, regardless of who you agree with, perfectly illustrates the tension between celebrity influence and unchecked corporate power, and Eilish's willingness to risk professional blowback for her political beliefs.
And finally, we have to note her recent endorsements and advocacy for peace. She advocated for Palestinian rights and a ceasefire during the Gaza war, notably wearing the high-profile Artists for Ceasefire pin at the 2024 Academy Awards.
And in U.S. domestic politics, she and her brother Phineas publicly endorsed the Democratic ticket of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. She is, in short, a pop star who is fully politically immersed.
Shifting now to her personal world, Eilish has been remarkably open about her psychological and medical journey, especially considering the intense level of public interest in her relationships and health.
That openness is a hallmark of her generation of stars. She has shared that she was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome at age 11, a condition she described in 2022 as exhausting to live with under the public eye.
She also experiences synesthesia, a neurological condition where stimulation of one sense, like sound, involuntarily triggers experiences in another sense, like color or texture. And this has been noted as perhaps contributing to the unique cross-sensory quality of her music.
Beyond physical and neurological conditions, she has publicly discussed experiencing depression, which, as we noted, informs the thematic depth of so much of her music. And crucially, she has also shared that she was a victim of sexual abuse as a child, adding a further layer of context to the themes of exploitation and power dynamics in songs like Your Power.
In terms of her relationships, the scrutiny has been relentless, perhaps due to her youth during her initial rise. She has publicly expressed sexual attraction to both men and women. The sources detail her dating history: rapper Brandon Adams from 2018 to 2019, actor Matthew Tyler Vorse from 2021 to 2022, and singer Jesse Rutherford from 2022 to 2023.
That last relationship was particularly public, partly due to the 11-year age gap, which Eilish and Rutherford controversially leaned into for a viral Halloween costume joke.
dressing up as a baby and an old man, respectively. It drew criticism from those who felt it trivialized the power dynamics of their relationship.
However, in a recent 2024 interview, Eilish drew a hard line, stating that she has finished discussing this area of her life. She made it clear that she wished no one knew anything about her sexuality or dating life, stating ever, 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 and I hope that they never will again.
Which shows the intense pressure she feels to reclaim privacy, even as she operates at this level of global celebrity.
A final curiosity regarding her personal views lies in her religious history. She revealed on the Me and Dad radio podcast that she was super religious as a small child, despite her family being non-religious.
Then the feeling completely went away, leading her to become almost anti-religious for no reason. She seems to have settled into a neutral position now, open to the idea of a God in every belief, but unwilling to confirm or deny belief for herself.
It's a very Gen Z perspective, open, non-committal, and individually defined.
So, to synthesize this incredible narrative, we track the journey from the intimate homeschooled origins and the seemingly accidental viral start of Ocean Eyes, fueled by her brother's home production and a lucky SoundCloud upload.
This catapulted her into immediate, record-breaking success, culminating in that historic Grammy sweep in 2020 that redefined the modern pop landscape.
And since then, she has engaged in this deliberate artistic and image control, shifting from the baggy aesthetic as a defense mechanism, and then confronting public scrutiny head-on through artistic works like the Not My Responsibility film, and navigating the controversies that arose from her digital footprint.
Crucially, her second and third acts prove she has perfected the dual nature of modern fame. She blends immense commercial success, epitomized by her unprecedented Spotify and Instagram records, making her one of the most digitally followed people on Earth, with outspoken, impactful advocacy on everything from climate and wealth redistribution to human rights.
Her career is a direct and necessary study in how fame operates today. The artistic authenticity, stemming from intimate songs written with Phineas in a home setting, stands in sharp, sometimes painful, contrast with the enormous, demanding infrastructure required to maintain her status. The global tours, the Disney films, the massive brand collaborations.
She perfectly embodies that contradiction of intimacy in pop production versus the scale of modern digital celebrity.
And that leaves us with a provocative thought for you, the learner, to consider as you wrap up this deep dive. We discussed her frustration with a promotional machine, highlighted specifically by her decision to surprise release the Guitar Songs EP with almost zero marketing, simply because she wanted the message to be immediate.
Despite being the first person born in the 21st century to win an Academy Award and setting records for being the youngest person to achieve so many milestones, she has repeatedly expressed fatigue with heavy promotion and a desire to return to that earlier, unmarketed era.
Which raises a crucial question for the future of global stardom. As the music industry's biggest stars gain more power and control over their art, does the scrutiny and expectation of their public life increasingly become an unbearable burden?
Or is that constant visibility and mandatory political engagement now simply an unavoidable cost of operating at this level of massive modern digital influence?